Welcome to today's webinar. Today is March 12th, 2013. And this month we're going to talk about the cost of keeping up with the Joneses. My name is Nathan Ockery, and I'm a credit counselor here at Family Life Credit Services, and I will be your presenter this afternoon here. So let's just start out with a word of prayer, and then we'll jump right in. So Lord, we just thank you for this day, Lord. Thank you for an opportunity we have here this afternoon to just kind of dig into our finances and learn a little bit about what it means to be a good steward of your money that you've blessed us with, your finances, Lord. I pray that you would bless this time together and bless each person that's on joining us today on this webinar, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen. Well, let's get started here. First of all, when we talk about keeping up with the Joneses, the first thing I thought of was the 10th commandment, where it says, you should not covet your neighbor's house. You should not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his manservant or maidservant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. That's from Exodus 20:17. I mean, right there, that to me, that's all about when we think of the phrase "keeping up with the Joneses." Coveting our neighbor's house or their car, or their, even their job, or coveting your neighbor's wife, manservant, maidservant, their lifestyle, the things that they have, the toys, the electronics, all that kind of stuff. That's pretty straightforward in the 10th commandment, that we shouldn't be jealous or covet the things that our neighbors, our siblings, our parents, our aunts and uncles, friends, co-workers have, but really be good stewards of the finances that God has blessed us with, and use what we have. Be thankful and content with what we have, I guess. So there we go. So what is keeping up with the Joneses? Really, it boils down to a lifestyle of spending. It can be influenced by, again, neighbors. Maybe your next door neighbors or the neighbors across the street. It can be influenced by family, friends, co-workers, really anybody that you're associated with that may seem like they have more than what you have, and maybe they have things that you want. Common side effects, a lot of times this is going to turn into unneeded, unwanted debt, that car loan that you didn't really need, or that mortgage payment that's a little bit bigger than maybe you could afford, and that just leads to, obviously, some stress, trying to keep up with that lifestyle, and really leads to unhappiness, because if you're constantly stressed about your finances, no matter what kind of car you drive, or how big the house that you live in, or how nice that swimming pool is in the backyard, if you're having a hard time paying for it, and it's just leading to stress in the finances, that dream of that happy lifestyle, having all those things, can turn to unhappiness fairly quickly. So we're going to look at a couple prime examples of things that we can easily fall into the trap of keeping up with the Joneses. So number one thing is buying a home. So let's say you took up a $200,000 mortgage. Now this may seem like a lot, it may seem like a little to you, but just for this example, we're going to use $200,000 as a high-end mortgage. Depending on where you live, this may or may not be an expensive house. Here in Fargo, North Dakota, I would consider $200,000 an expensive house. So principal and interest at 5% on a 30-year loan adds up to about $1,073 a month, which over 30 years adds up to about $186,000 in interest over the course of those 30 years, paying back that mortgage. Now, a $125,000 house, which again in Fargo Moorhead here, Depending on where you're at, this may be different again. But a $125,000 house mortgage at 5% interest is about $400 less principal and interest on the loan over 30 years. And over the course of those 30 years, it's only going to cost you $116,000 and change in interest over that time. So, the difference in a $200,000 house and a $125,000 house is very substantial when you extend it out over that 30-year time period. Savings $402 a month and almost $145,000 total in principal and interest that you would save over that 30-year time period. And if you look at it this way, if you think you can afford a $1,073 payment on a $125,000 house, let's just say you applied that to the smaller mortgage, you would pay off that loan in 160 months. So 13 years and 4 months is what it would take if you made that same exact payment. Not to mention, the taxes are going to be cheaper on a $125,000 house, and the insurance is going to be cheaper on that same house as well. So example number 2, the vehicle, that car out in the driveway across the street that looks so appealing. In our case, I have 2 brothers that are engineers, and they make really good money, and they drive nice cars, and they live in nice houses. So for me, the battle is trying not to compare myself to my brothers, my brothers' families, my siblings. And that involves, just because they can afford to buy a new car or a almost brand new car, doesn't mean that I have to. And my wife and I, we depend on good used cars that we can drive as long as possible, which is okay. And it's okay if you can't afford the new cars, so be it. But example number 2 on the vehicle, if you took out a $20,000 loan at 4% for a brand new car, it would cost about a little under $370 a month over a 5-year time period, and it would cost you a little over $2,000 in interest on that car loan. Now, to compare, if you found a good used car for $7,500, maybe you paid a little bit higher interest, maybe 6%. It's going to cost you $145 a month over 5 years, and about $1,200 in interest over the life of that loan. So the savings here, the good used car compared to the new car, over $223 a month on the payments, and over $13,000 is what you'd save over the course of 5 years between principal and interest. So if you can afford the $368 payment, if you went with the option of getting a $7,500 used car, that payment on a $7,500 loan would pay off that loan in less than 2 years. So in less than 2 years, you would own a vehicle that you could hopefully drive for 10 more years beyond that point without any more payments. A couple other things with that. If you, rather than taking out a loan against a vehicle, let's say you saved that $145 a month, rather than making a payment on a used car at 1% interest in a savings account. So you found a savings account that even gave you 1% interest. You saved that amount of money. After 2 years, you would have over $3,500. After 3 years, you'd have over $5,000, $5,300. And if you save that amount, $145 a month for 5 years, you would have nearly $9,000, which you could use to go pay cash for a vehicle, even at 1% interest, which if you looked hard enough, you could probably find a savings account that would pay even more interest than that, and therefore speed up that process of saving. If you saved, if you could afford the $368 a month, and you saved that money at 1% interest up to buy a car with cash, after 2 years, you'd have nearly $9,000 already, just after 2 years of savings, where you could find a pretty good used car for $8,900 by saving up that amount. After 3 years, you'd have $13,466, and after 5 years, if you saved up $368.34 a month at 1% interest, you would have $22,671.44, which you could go and purchase a brand new car with cash and probably get a pretty good deal on something that's maybe pushing $30,000 on the sticker price. So next example, next area we're going to examine and attack here is the good old-fashioned cable bundle, the phone, internet, TV package. So typical bundle, if you're including TV, internet, cable, we'll just say $150 a month is pretty typical. Over the course of a year, that's $1,800 that you're spending on your cable package and your TV or your internet package and your maybe your landline, your home phone. Over the course of 5 years, it adds up to $9,000. So here you got to really juggle the weight of is it worth it? Is it worth $9,000 to have this nice cable, internet? $1,800 a year. That's a pretty good chunk of money. $1,800 every year spent on your TV, your internet, or phone bill. So if you went down to a basic TV and internet bundle, and this, taking out the phone, maybe a TV and internet bundle is $60 a month, and you get rid of the landline, all you have is cell phones, since I would assume many of you just are living on or have cell phones at this point. So let's say it's $60 a month just for a TV and internet bundle. As opposed to $1,800 a year, now we're only talking $720 a year, and only $3,600 over 5 years. So you still have your TV, you still have your internet. You just trim the packages down a little bit, and you can see how significant that savings is. If you break it down by month, it's only $90 a month, but over the course of time, it really saves money to save a little bit each month. So having a TV package with all the extras, the movie channels or sports channels or all that kind of stuff, you could typically pay about $75 a month, so $900 a year, just to have your TV, your satellite TV, or your nice cable package. By trimming that down to the basic TV packages, those are usually around $30 a month, where you get the basic cable channels, and you get all your local channels, all that good stuff. You could probably find it for $30 a year, or $30 a month, which only adds up to $360 a year, as opposed to $900 just for your TV. So again, how much is that? How much is your TV watching experience worth? Is it worth $900 a year, or would $360 a year to have reduced package be worth it? Along with the cable, typical bundle versus the basic bundle, just kind of comparing them here. That $150 bundle as opposed to the $60 bundle. Again, we're saving over $1,000 a year by getting rid of the home phone and trimming back your cable and internet packages. If you save that $90 a month at 1% interest, again, put it into a savings account, that's $1,085 that you would have after the first year. And after year number 5, you'd have $5,539 that you would have built up in savings, even at 1% interest. Again, even like I said, that's a pretty conservative interest rate on a savings account if you're truly putting a chunk of money in there every month. So now switching from your typical bundle down to just your basic internet or basic cable, just having one of them. Maybe you just trim everything back so you just have an internet bill of $30 a month. That's going to save you $120 a month from that typical $150 bundle, which is $1,440 a year. If you saved that, if you put that money in savings at 1% interest each month, after year number 1, you'd have almost $1,500, and after year number 5, you'd have almost $7,400 saved up from your savings, and just trimming everything back to like a basic cable or basic internet service. That's a pretty nice emergency fund that's built up, or that's a pretty nice chunk of money that you can put towards a car, or paying off some debts, or doing whatever needs to be done. The next example, we're going to talk about name brands. So this mainly applies to grocery shopping. Generic brands, up here the generic brands are Our Family or Food Club, those kinds of things. Every grocery store has your typical name brand, and then some of the generic brands, which is basically the same product without the nice label. So if we estimate that you're spending $500 a month for a family in groceries, maybe groceries and toiletries, the 25% savings on the groceries, and this isn't how it's going to work out exactly, but 25% savings on by buying generic products adds up to $375 a month instead of $500. That's $125 a month savings. If you took that savings that you are keeping and put that in a savings account, even at 1% interest again, a conservative savings account, after the first year, you'd have over $1,500 saved up in that savings account. Again, nice emergency fund built up after year 1. Along with that, goes the typical coupon clipping and finding deals that way. But after 5 years, just by shopping generic, saving that 25% on groceries and toiletries, and putting that money in a savings account, after 5 years, it's almost $7,700 that you'd have in that savings account, where maybe that's more in a savings account than you've ever had in your lifetime before. So putting it all together here, we're going to try to incorporate everything all into one. If you saved $402 a month on a mortgage by buying a $125,000 house as opposed to $200,000, you saved $145 a month on the car loan by getting a good used vehicle as opposed to the brand new $20,000 vehicle. And then you save $90 a month on the TV bundle by just going from cable, internet, and phone down to maybe a basic cable and internet package. So you save that $90 a month, and you saved $125 a month on your groceries by shopping shopping generic brands as opposed to the name brands. Altogether, you would be saving in your lifestyle change here. You'd be saving $762.62 a month. Put that in a savings account at 1% interest. You're going to have over $9,200 saved after the first year, and nearly $47,000 saved after the 5th year of making these changes in your lifestyle. So, obviously, none of this is going to happen too quickly, but gradually making these changes, you can really make a difference in the future of your finances. So, don't pay attention. Try not to do your best to not pay attention. I know how hard it is, like I talked about in our family, having the 2 siblings that definitely have the income that we don't. But at the same time, as your neighbors and coworkers and family members, they may drive the nice cars or have the nice houses, but along with keeping up with the Joneses comes the pressure to keep up that lifestyle. You don't want to have that make such a significant impact on your family where you're constantly just worried about bills and you don't have the time or energy to use that time with your family, growing your family, and definitely, most importantly, don't drown yourself in debt just to keep up with your neighbors or family or friends. Often, as we overextend ourselves, it just happens where the debt just keeps growing and growing slowly, where it gets to the point where now you're taking on fourth jobs and doing things that you never thought you'd have to do to keep all the bills paid. So achieving financial freedom will feel a lot better than looking good on the outside, but living paycheck to paycheck. So you're going to be a lot happier. You're going to be a lot more. You're going to have a lot more freedom by living within your means. Not paying attention to what everyone else, the way everyone else lives or buys, or not feeding yourself the lie of this is how everyone does it now, or this is what everybody does. When I bought my first vehicle, just to tell you one last story here. The salesman at the car dealership that sold me it was my second car, right when I got out of college. I went in to buy a new car, and not a new car, but a new car for me. But as we were test driving things and trying to figure out what I could afford and everything, he really wanted me to get into this lease of a vehicle. And he said something that I'll never forget. He said, the lease is cheaper. It was only X number of dollars a month as opposed to getting a loan to purchase a car. And he said it'd be a 3-year lease. He said this: you're going to want to buy a new car 3 years from now anyway, and you're always going to have a car payment. So why not just lease a brand new vehicle where you can always bring it in for us to have it fixed and do all the maintenance and everything. And I said, I'm not always going to have a car payment. That's no way. That's not a way that everyone has to live. That isn't what everybody does. So don't let those lies seep in from salesmen or from your family or friends. You don't always have to have a car payment. You don't always have to buy the nicest house, the most that you can afford. You don't always have to do that. But just work towards your financial freedom, and things will be a lot easier when it comes to writing out the bills every month if you know that you're living within your means. So if you have questions, that kind of wraps it up for today. That was short, but I just wanted to give you a few examples of just how much of an impact it makes when we try to keep up with the people around us financially, keep up with their lifestyle. So if you have questions or if you wanted to go through your situation, we'd be more than happy to help you out with a budget or coming up with a plan to pay off your debt, or just answer any questions you have about your finances in general. So email me at nathan@familylifecredit.org, or there is our phone number, 800-747-9307, and my extension is 102. So with that, I will wrap up for this month's webinar. I appreciate everyone joining us here today, and may the Lord bless you as you go forward this week. Have a great day and have a great rest of your week.